Hey guys, welcome to my channel Versatile. In this video, I'm going to share with you my top interview questions. Now, if you are someone who is learning SQL or someone who is planning to attend the SQL interviews, then I highly recommend to go through this SQL interview questions video. If you think that this video is going to help you, then please make sure to like this video and do consider subscribe. Thank you, and let's begin. What type of SQL commands do you know? Data definition language, that is DDL, to define and modify the structure of database. Data definition language, DML, to access, manipulate, modify data in the database. Data control language, that is DCL, to control user access to the data in database and give or revoke privileges to specific user or a group of users. Transaction control language, TCL, to control the transaction in a database. Data query language, DQL, to perform queries on the data in a database to retrieve the necessary information from it. What is null value? What is how it is different from zero or a blank space? This is the most confusing question for each and every student or every people who is in the SQL. So concentrate and read it carefully. A null value indicates the absence of data for a certain cell of table. Instead, 0 is a valid numeric value. An empty string is a legal string of 0 length. What is a function in a SQL and why use functions? A database object representing a set of SQL statements frequently used for a certain task. A function takes in some input parameters, perform calculations or other manipulations on them, and returns the result. Functions help improve code readability and avoid repetition of the same code snippets. What type of SQL questions do you know? Aggregate functions and scalar functions. So aggregate function. Aggregate functions work on multiple, usually group records and for provided the column of table and return a single value. Scalar function work on each individual value and return a single value. On the other hand, SQL functions can be built in, defined by the system or user defined, created by the specific user for the specific needs. What aggregate functions do you know? Average function, sum function, mean function, max function, count function, first function, last function. Average function. It returns the average value. Sum function. It returns the sum of the values. Mean function. It returns the minimum value. Max function. It returns the maximum value. Count function. It returns the number of rows including those with null values. First function. It returns the first value from a column. Last last function. It returns the last value from a column. Now, what is the difference between local and the global variables? Local variable can be accessed only inside the function in which they were declared. Instead, global variables being declared outside any function are stored in a fixed memory structure and can be used throughout entire the program. Now, what is the order of appearance of the common statement in the select query? We are we are saying about appearance of the statement, not execution. Select, from, join, on, where, group by, having, order by, and then limit. This is the flow of appearance of a statement. Now we will see how execute our select query. See, in which order the interpreter executes the common statements in the select query. from, join, on, where, group by, having, select, order by, and then limit. This is the flow for the execution of select query. Can we create a view based on another view? Yes, this is also known as a nested views. However, we should avoid nesting multiple views since the code becomes difficult to read and debug. Can we still use a view if the original table is deleted? No. Any views based on that table will become invalid after deleting that base table. If we try to use such view anyway, we will receive an error message. What is the difference between renaming a column and giving an aliases to that column? So renaming a column means permanently changing its actual name in the original table. Giving an alias to the column means giving it a temporary name while executing an SQL query with the purpose to make the code more readable or more compact. What is the difference between nested and correlated subqueries? A correlated subquery is an inner query nested in a bigger query that refers to the value from the outer query for its execution, meaning that correlated subquery depends on outer query. Instead, a non-correlated subquery doesn't rely on the data from the outer query and it can be run independently of it. Write an SQL query to find the names of employees starting with a A. Here we find a like operator. We will see the like use of like operator for the purpose of patterns. See, the like operator of SQL is used for this purpose. It is used to fetch filter data by searching for a particular pattern in this in the where clause. The syntax for using the like is select column name 1, column name 2 from table name where column name like that pattern. Here like is a operator name and pattern means exact value extracted from the pattern to get related data in the result set. So the required query is select star from employees where employee name like a percent. What is the on delete cascade constraint? An on delete cascade constraint is used in MySQL to delete the rows from the child table automatically when the rows from the parent table are deleted. Explain with clause in SQL. The with clause provides a way relationship of defining a temporary relationship whose definition is available only the query in which the with clause occurs. SQL applies predicates in the with clause after group have been formed, so aggregate functions may be used. What is cursor? The cursor is a temporary memory or temporary workstation. It is allocated by database server at the time of performing DML operations on the table by the user. Cursors are used to store database tables. What is trigger? The trigger is the statement that a system executes automatically when there is any modification to the database. In a trigger, we first specify when the trigger is to be executed and then the action to be performed when the trigger executes. What are the local and global variables and their differences? Global variable. In contrast, global variables are variables that are defined outside of the functions. These variables have global scope, so they can be used by any function without passing them to the function as a parameter. Local variable. Local variable are variables that are defined within the functions. They have local scope. which means that they can be only used within the functions that define them. What is auto increment? Sometimes, while creating a table, we do not have a unique identifier within a table. Hence, we face difficulty in choosing primary key. So, as to resolve such an issue, we have to manually provide unique keys to every record. But this is often also a tedious task. So, we can use the auto increment features that automatically generate a numerical primary key value for every new record inserted. What is a stored procedure? Stored procedures are created to perform one or more DML operations on the database. It is nothing but a group of SQL statements that accept some input in the form of parameters and perform some task and may or may not be return a value. Define between statement in the SQL. The SQL between condition allows you to easily test if an expression is within a range of values. The values can be text, date, or numbers. It can be used in a select, insert, update, or delete statement. The SQL between condition will return the records where the expression is within the range of value 1 and value 2. Why do we use commit and rollback commands? Commit. Commit permanently saves the changes made by the current transaction. Rollback. Rollback undo the changes made by the current transaction. The transaction cannot undo changes after the commit execution. The transaction reaches its previous state after rollback. When the transaction is successful, commit is applied. When the transaction is aborted, rollback occurs. What is a TSQL? TSQL is an abbreviation for Transact Structured Query Language. It is a product by Microsoft and it is an extension of SQL language which is used to interact with relational database. It is considered to perform best with the Microsoft SQL servers. TSQL statements are used to perform the transaction to the database. TSQL has huge importance since all the communications with the instance of an SQL server are done by sending transact SQL statements to the server. Users can also define functions using TSQL. So types of TSQL functions are aggregate functions, ranking functions. There are different type of ranking functions, row set functions, scalar functions. Now, what is the need of group functions in the SQL? In a database management, group functions, also known as aggregate functions, is a function where the values of multiple rows are grouped together as an input on a certain criteria to form a single value of more significant meaning. Various group functions: count function, sum function, average function, mean function, max function. What is the need for a merge statement? The merge command in SQL is actually a combination of three statements: insert, update, and delete. In a simple word, the merge statement in SQL provides a convenient way to perform all three operations together, which can be very helpful when it comes to handling large running database. But unlike insert, update, and delete statement, merge statement requires a source table to perform these operations on the required table, which is called a target table. What is ETL in SQL? ETL is a process in data warehousing and it stands for extract, transform, and load. It is a process in which an ETL tool extract the data from various source systems, transform it in the staging area, and then finally loads it into the data warehouse system. These are three database functions that are incorporated into the one tool to pull data from one database and put data into another database. Thanks for watching. If you think that this video is going to help you, then please make sure to like and comment your questions and don't forget to subscribe our channel. Thank you.